Good evening. This is Rachel with Infused Meadow, and I'm making dinner. So, as you all know from watching any of my videos, almost everything that I do is from scratch, and a lot of my spices and herbs, they're from things that I've grown myself. So, with that being said, if you see me shake a jar or if the jar looks funny, I like to reuse jars because you can wash them out and reuse them. And I always clean my chicken because you never know when a bone is missed. And I've found that several times. Okay, so 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, so this is what I call, it's a Sriracha and honey chicken over rice. So what we're going to do is we want to cut our chicken into bite sizes. Whatever sizes you like. So if you like a bigger bite, you do a bigger bite, okay? And we just want to cut this and put it into a bowl. That is a bigger piece. When you hear that sound, that's my doorbell. That is people walking by or a vehicle that goes by, and I do apologize. I know you probably hear that sound a lot. So that's what that is. And always check, if you're doing bite sizes, make sure that they're all the size that you want. Because sometimes some can just kind of slip in there and get a little bigger than what you originally wanted. Okay, I'm going to move this cutting board and I'll be right back. Okay, now this is where your hands are going to get a little messy. We have cornstarch, black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, some ground ginger, and then I've beaten 1 egg. So what we want to do is we're going to create a marinade. Now, instead of doing this in a measuring cup, I'm going to do this in tablespoons this time. So I want roughly, that you saw it was 2 pieces of chicken. I'm going to go in with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 tablespoons of cornstarch. So not quite a half a cup, but more than 1/4 a cup. To this, I'm going to start with my 1 teaspoon measures. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Excuse me. I'm going to knock things over. 1 teaspoon of ground ginger. A 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. A 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. And because the 1/4 is what I'm working with, I'm going to use it twice. We're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Okay. What you want to do now is you're going to take your hands, cornstarch is messy, and you are going to coat everything in this cornstarch and seasoning mix that you've just created. Now, if you have bigger pieces of chicken, like you saw, mine weren't that big, then this 6 tablespoons should coat all of your chicken. Unfortunately, I should have probably gone with just the 4 tablespoons, so 1/4 cup, because I do have a little bit of excess on the bottom, but that's okay. Cornstarch, if you're anywhere outside the U.S., I think it's corn flour. Alright, once everything is good and coated in that cornstarch and season mix, let me just found a piece that was like, no. Make sure that you run it between your fingers and that it doesn't stick to each other, or else you're going to end up with half coated and half not. So once that's done, you want to add your egg. And again, you're going to toss this in here and make sure that everything has the egg and your cornstarch mixture on it. This will become tacky. It's okay. It'll become very tacky, sticky, whatever you want to call it. That's what'll happen. And once you know everything is nice and combined, all you are going to do is I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'm going to put a paper towel over this, and I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. I want this to rest for 10 minutes. Okay, so once we're at the 10-minute marker, we'll be back. Okay, so we do have a few minutes worth of waiting. And what we're going to do is, what I've already got ready, you need some Sriracha. And you're going to need some honey. Excuse me, 1 second, I forgot my spatula. Alright, so in this bowl, and I forgot some rice wine vinegar. I'll do that one last. We are going to combine 3/4 a cup of honey. Sorry, I just like to make sure I get everything. Alright, we have our 3/4 a cup of honey. We're going to add to that a 1/2 cup of our Sriracha, however you want to say it. I say it Sriracha. So if it's wrong, it's wrong. It's what it is. I think we all say things differently depending on where we come from in the world, so it's alright. Alright, let me set these in the sink. Now we want to add to this 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. And then we are going to mix this up. Also, go ahead and you're going to set yourself up a pot with oil, whatever oil you like to deep fry in, and we are going to be frying the chicken bites. And what else have I done? I've turned my oven on to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. You want to mix this up very well. Make sure that it looks like it is completely combined. You can use a whisk if you want. I'm fine with a spatula. And now you see why I call this a Sriracha and honey chicken. It is very good. Very, very good. Kind of reminds me of the like a fancier version of chicken nuggets and the sweet and sour sauce. So, just a FYI, I guess. Now, if you're not a fan of the original Sriracha or the hot chili Sriracha, then you can use the sweet Sriracha, but just remember you're not going to get this same, flavor that the recipe will give you because you're mixing 2 sweets at that point, and it kind of defeats the purpose. So, just as an FYI there. And I personally find that the rice vinegar is very, very nice in this one. I don't care for the other vinegars in this. That's where I'm at with the recipe. Okay, so once this is combined, now you're good to go. Your oven should be on and you should have some oil heating. You don't need a lot of oil, about 1 inch roughly, just enough so that you can drop your chicken in there and it fries. So we'll be back. I probably should have also said, so you're going to heat your oil anywhere between 325 to 350 degrees or 163 to 177 degrees Celsius. Well, 180 to do your chicken in, okay? So make sure that you got that good and hot and temperature probe it. We'll be back. Go ahead and have yourself a little pan ready because we're going to deep fry our chicken, and then once it is good and golden, we're going to put this into the pan, and then we're going to add our sauce mix, and we're going to put this into the oven. I like to do roughly 10 minutes, and what I do is 5 minutes, and then I'll pull it, give it a stir, and put it back in for 5 minutes, and then it'll go on our rice, which I already have my rice going. I think everybody knows how to cook rice. Basically, I'll just walk you through it. So this is 3/4 a cup of rice, and it's 1.5 cups of water. What I do is I bring my 1.5 cups of water up to a boil. At that point, I add my rice in, and I give it a little stir. And that's just to make sure it's not sticking to the pan or to itself. Once it comes back up to a boil, I stir it one more time, and then I put the lid on and I turn the heat off. Roughly 20 minutes of setting in this hot water, your rice is done. And then you just fluff it with a fork, put it in your plate, your bowl, whatever you're using, and there you go. Rice is, to me, rice is easy, but I do know some people that struggle. It is what it is. We're all different and we all learn, right? We all start somewhere. And I am nowhere near my 350 degrees. So it's going to be a few. We'll be back. So what you can do while you're waiting is go ahead and get your stuff set up. I've got my pan right here. I'll be putting my chicken right here where you won't see it. And then as I pull the chicken, we're going to fry this for 1 to 2 minutes. And then you're going to put it in here, okay? Now, I do like to temperature probe my chicken as I'm doing it because I want it just roughly around 157 to 158. We'll say 155 to 158 degrees. Why? It's going in the oven as well. It'll finish cooking in there. So, chicken generally needs to be 165 degrees to be safe to eat. And so, if you pull it at around 150 to 155, let's be honest, about 150, you got 10 minutes in the oven, your chicken will still be done, okay? So, I've got that. I'm going to actually bring my chicken over. And then you can do one of two things. If you want, you can go ahead and pour that sauce into your pan because all you're going to be doing is coating it with it anyways. Or what I do is I add the chicken and then I just pour my sauce on there and I mix it up and then I slide it in the oven. So, we'll be back. Okay, so we are good to go on our oil. You just want to drop these in small batches. Do not put the whole thing in there, okay? So I'm going to do these a little at a time, and we're going to get these all fried up. Hopefully you do know how to fry chicken or deep fry it like this. Remember, don't put the whole thing in there. Alright, I'm going to give this a minute or two. We're going to give it a little stir. We want to make sure that this is not sticking together. And I'm also going to grab a paper towel just to put into my pan. Once it's nice and golden, you're going to go ahead and pull this out. So, like I said, about 1 to 2 minutes, and then we'll be right back. Once your chicken comes to the surface, it's usually an indication that it's done. I've already temperature probed it. You can go ahead and do the same. Pull that. I'm putting it onto a paper towel that I've set into my pan just to kind of get some of that grease off. And then all you're going to do is do all of your chicken the exact same way that I've just shown you. So once that's done, I'll be back. Alright, once your chicken is done, if you've done like me and you've put a little paper towel in there, take that out. The obvious, throw it away. And then what you want to do is you're going to pour your sauce all over your chicken. And your oven should be very well heated, because if you're like me, it was done mid-frying. So, which is unfortunate, waste of energy. You want to mix this to make sure that you coat all of your chicken in your sauce, as you can see. And once you see that everything is nice and coated, you're going to put this into the oven. Now, I'm going to be doing 10 minutes total. At 5 minutes, I'm going to pull these out. I'm going to give them another stir, and I'm going to put them in for another 5 minutes. Okay? So 10 total. And we'll be back. Okay, so while that's in the oven, and I've still got a little over a minute before I do my first stir, I just wanted to tell you, for those that do not know, do not pour that oil down your sink, okay? What you want to do is let it cool completely. Once it's cool, get yourself some kind of container. I like to use old oil bottles and then just pour the oil back into that. Once you get that full, take it to the dump or a recycling center. Most of them have a spot where you can dump your cooking oil. But do not put that down your sink, okay? Just a little FYI. Alright, I've already got all my stuff cleaned up, and I'm waiting on this, and then we will be back. Okay, so as you can see, the chicken's done. It has been in there for 10 minutes, and I'm going to get this served up. My husband is home, so I'm actually running late today, and we are going to eat dinner. If you have leftovers, you can store these in an airtight container. Chicken usually stores, I personally wouldn't do more than 2 days. In the refrigerator, airtight container. But that's the restaurant person in me. Most other people say it's safe to, to store chicken airtight for 3 days in the refrigerator. Just so you know. Alright, so I hope that you make this. I cannot tell you that I hope, if you don't like this, to go find the recipe, because I don't know if there's another recipe out there. Alright. So, I hope you make it. I hope you love it, if not like it. And as I always say, I hope you have yourself a very wonderful day.